Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Racha Kwadash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, when we so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we're scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. And to you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, willing, this lesson is edifying. This lesson will be a commentary to one that had been done by Elder Manata Zagba in response to this individual's prophetic dream entitled Nuclear Destruction Dream. And without further ado, let's get into it. And I have not yet finished watching Elder Manata Zagba's response, but the Spirit had inspired me so greatly to do this lesson that I had to, immediately put it on wax.
I have had a dream. I had a dream that, and it's hard for me to even say this stuff. I don't even know how to feel. I got a headache right now. I had a dream that America was in a great deal of trouble. It seemed like it was some sort of judgment. And all of the countries was surrounding America.
And this will happen according to biblical prophecy. Countries including China, Russia, Iran, America's allies, will put themselves in array against America, Babylon the Great, roundabout, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows at her. According to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14 here, which reads, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon." Babylon is America, roundabout. All ye that bend the bow represents the nuclear silos, and the arrows represents the nuclear missiles. In particular, the warheads. Shoot at her, spare no arrows. And as it is written in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, shall anyone turn back a bow that is shot by a mighty archer, roughly paraphrasing the scripture? So no arrows will be spared, because they are the weapons of the Lord's indignation, according to the 25th verse of the same chapter, which reads, "The Lord Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, hath opened his armory." What is an armory? An armory is a place where weapons are stored. The armory represents the nuclear silos, the bow, if you will, and had brought forth the weapons of his indignation. And what are these weapons? They are the ICBM nuclear missiles of his indignation, which means his righteous anger. For this is the work, and what will that work be? The destruction of America, Babylon the Great, according to biblical prophecy. Refer to Isaiah the 13th chapter. among many others, of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. And the land of the Chaldeans is America, Babylon the Great, a land of bitter confusion, full of witchcraft. After all, the ancient Chaldeans were witches and warlocks, wizards, necromancers. And according to Isaiah 47, Esau, Edom, has been indulging in witchcraft since his youth, roughly paraphrasing the scripture. But it will not save him. The Lord will not suffer a witch to live according to the law. And in this case, these Edomites, beginning with their elites, are also witches and warlocks and wizards. And they will not be left. Any Edomite in this land, nor anyone for that matter, once and after the Lord has destroyed it with thermonuclear fire. So put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. For she had sinned against the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, and her sins had reached up unto heaven, roughly paraphrasing the scripture. Let's listen on.
Last one. And they all had their nuclear missiles pointed at America. And everybody was just standing there staring at the missiles.
Right, because the nations that will put themselves in array against Babylon round about will indeed be the ones possessing nuclear missiles that will then shoot their nuclear missiles against America, Babylon the Great. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 29. Call together the archers against Babylon. Who are archers? Archers are expert men of using the bow and the arrow. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Camp against America, Babylon the Great, round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she had done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, against the Holy One of Israel. And what has America done? America has enslaved the sons and daughters of the nation of Israel, especially the Lord's elect. America has mistreated the nations, and the nations are mad, they're fed up. So the Lord has put the spirit upon these heathen nations to rise up against America, Babylon the Great.
Like the missiles were so close, getting ready to, hit us. And the people was like trembling, like in fear. They didn't know what to do, so they just stood there. The two countries that was leading all the other countries was China and Russia.
Now, this reminds me of the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, where it states this: Verse 6, before their face the people shall be much pained. So before the faces of the ICBM nuclear missiles, the face of the people shall be much pained. They'll be in distress when they see, and in despair when they see those ICBM nuclear missiles approaching America, Babylon the Great. And then after they detonate, all those people will be consumed by the fire. In fact, their flesh will be fuel for the fire. All faces shall gather blackness. Now let's read this in the GNT. But before we do so, let's read it in the NLT, Lord's willing. Joel chapter 2, verse 6. Fear grips all the people. Why? Because they will be afraid of what they will be beholding. That is the ICBM nuclear missiles, the arrows that will be shot from the archers, from the nations. Every face grows pale with terror. The attackers march like warriors and scale city walls like soldiers. Straight forward they march, never breaking rank. So these missiles, as a great army of warriors, will march forward towards America, Babylon the Great, and they will not break their ranks. They will not be deterred. They will not be destroyed on their way to America, Babylon the Great by any missile defense system. So now let's get it in the GNT. Joel chapter 2, verse 6 in the GNT. As they approach, everyone is terrified. Every face turns pale. They attack like warriors. They climb the walls like soldiers. They all keep marching straight ahead and do not change direction or get in each other's way. So these missiles will cause the face of individuals to be in fear. They're going to terrorize the people. They'll be left in despair. So now let's go back to the lesson.
China and Russia. And then they made...
Now, why did he mention Russia? Because Russia is referred to as the Medes in the book of Isaiah and in the book of Jeremiah. And in the book of Ezekiel, they are referred to as Gog and Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. In China, today they are the so-called Moabites.
Point to all the other countries that told them to shoot off their missiles. So all the missiles shot off and everything vanished.
And everything vanished because nothing will be left of this land after the Lord Yahweh, through his son Yahushai, has destroyed it utterly by way of thermonuclear fire, according to biblical prophecy. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 19. Babylon, pardon me. Excuse me. Please pardon me. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 19, rather. Excuse me. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And we can read about that in Genesis, the 19th and 20th chapter. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall their shepherds make their fold there. So after the nuclear missiles have destroyed this land, according to biblical prophecy, there won't be any Ishmaelite walking around with their halal food carts selling camel meat, because nothing will be left of this land. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So America, Babylon, the Great's destruction is imminent. And after the Lord has destroyed this land, nothing will be left but wild beasts of the islands and desert creatures, unclean creatures, dragons, satyrs, owls. So Babylon's days are numbered. Its time of destruction will soon arrive. So now let's go back.
Some people survived, but majority of the population died. Now this is the dream that I had. The people that made it, that were still alive, they end up dying by the radiation.
Revelation chapter 8, verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven. This great star represents the ICBM nuclear missiles, which again, according to the book of Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 25, are the weapons of the Lord's indignation, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers. The third part represents the third part of men, which is the wicked, who is Esau, Edom, according to the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4, of the rivers. The rivers, according to the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, represents the nations, kindreds, and tongues, the people, right? And upon the fountains of waters. And this is the point, because remember, he had said that those that had survived and were left died of the radiation. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter by reason of the radiation. Okay. Now in the NLT, verse 10 and 11 reads this. Then the third angel blew his trumpet, and a great star fell from the sky, burning like a torch. It fell on 1/3 of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star was bitterness. So that is the ICBM nuclear missiles. And again, the third part of the rivers represents the third part of men. The rivers, the waters, that represents the nations, the kindreds, and tongues. In fact, let me get it instead of quoting it. Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest were the whore, which the whore represents America, Babylon the Great, sitteth, or peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And so this scripture proves that the rivers and the waters that the 10th verse references represents the peoples, the nations, the kindreds, and the tongues. And the third part of it is the wicked. So reading on in the NLT, it fell on 1/3 of the rivers and on the springs of water. And the name of the star was bitterness by reason of the radiation after the destruction. It made 1/3 of the water bitter, and many people died from drinking the bitter water. So now let's continue on.
The chemicals from the missiles. And the only people that survived were the people that was chosen.
Which, that's the elect. Right? So many scriptures come to mind, but one in particular is St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, who is the Son of Man, or Lord Yahushai, in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, all 18 nations. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, which are the so-called UFOs, the chariots of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, of heaven with power and great glory. And this is the point. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So the elect will be gathered from the four winds, from one end of heaven unto the other, where they are scattered. In the NLT, it reads, and he will send out his angels with the mighty blast of a trumpet, and they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the farthest ends of the earth and the heaven. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land of America, Babylon the Great, said the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, two parts therein shall cut off and die. So 2/3 of the nation of Israel shall be cut off and die here in the land of America, Babylon the Great, by way of thermonuclear fire. If for the ones that don't survive Jacob's trouble, for the ones that survive Jacob's trouble, referred to, what is that? Amos, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. So no matter what they do, they'll ultimately taste of that judgment, that fire. But the third shall be left therein. The third is the 1/3, the elect, that will be delivered from the destruction. And I will bring the third part through the fire of adversity, and through the literal fire that the Lord is going to bring upon this land, through the nuclear missiles. And will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, the name of who? The name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. And I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is my power. Right? So now let's listen on.
Chosen by the Most High. And they had like some sort of symbol or mark on their foreheads.
Oh man, that's what is that? That's Ezekiel. Damn it, yes, it is. What is it? 9 and 5. It says. Matter of fact, not 9 and 5, 9 and 4. And the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, said unto him, to the angels, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, which represents Israel, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry. That mark is Thawah in the Hebrew, which means exemption. So set a mark of exemption upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry. And who are they? The elect, that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst thereof, because a lot of abominations are done in the midst of Jerusalem, in this land, because Jerusalem is a people before it is a place. And the Lord will especially start with the house of Israel, they who know that they're Israelites, yet continue to indulge in abominations that they continuously do in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him to the city and smite. For those that do not have the mark of exemption, go ye after him through the midst and smite him, put him to death, him and her, man, woman, and child. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, upon whom is the mark of what? Thawa, exemption from judgment. All right, so now let's listen on.
They were covered. The chemicals, the radiation did not impact them. The impact by the missiles did not impact them. They were totally well.
Why? Because according to the book of Job, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, man, the elect will be delivered. All right?
And thriving. They were certainly covered. And I woke up. But I've been feeling like this and for several days. I think like a week now. I just want to know if anybody else has been feeling like this.
So that's pretty much the point. Abaradazar, this lesson has been edifying. And without further ado, on to the next. Shalom.